So, Conjuring the Devil, also known as Demon Nun, is another evil nun film which I decided to venture into in Tubi. I got this urge to watch a bunch of bad nun films, basically. I guess it's with The Nun 2 coming out from the Conjuring series, and just the whole evil nun premise sounds like a pretty interesting one, especially when it comes to low budget and B movie cinema. And this one is released by Wild Eye. Now, one thing that scares me always is seeing a film released by Wild Eye and one that is pushing 2 hours. If a movie is from Wild Eye and it's closer to 2 hours long than it is an hour and a half, and those things combined, yeah, I'm not getting my hopes up for anything. And this film, the way it started in the first 5 minutes, I was very close to shutting it off because there are films that are just literally unwatchable, and I will say the first 3 to 5 minutes of this film is exactly that. Luckily, it stuck around, and after the intro, after the opening credits, it started to become just your average, typical, low budget piece of cinema. But that opening, I don't know why it wasn't cut off, and I don't know what the director's purpose was. It takes place on a subway. There's this woman being harassed by this man, and then you see the man eventually has like long hair. He has a priest's collar, and then he just busts out this whip and starts like whipping it into the air, and then the woman starts dancing on one of the train subway car poles things, and the acting is just atrocious. The whole film, the acting is atrocious, and that's the film's weakest thing about it. The ADR is just abysmal. Like, a lot of words don't match the lips. A lot of the dialogue doesn't seem like it's coming out of the person's mouth. It seems like it's dubbed over, which it is, and that's the majority of the film. I can understand low budget, and I can understand limitations, but you can only push your patience so far, I guess. And this one was fine. Well, let me rephrase that. It was entertaining, and all a film has to do is entertain me. This film is way too long, though. An hour and 54 minutes. Reason. There's no rhyme or reason for this film to be that long. An hour and 20 would do just fine. The premise is cool, and that's the best thing that this film has going for it, as well as the practical effects. A lot of the budget of the film obviously was filmed on the blood and the practical effects, so a lot of that part of the film is done well. But plot-wise, basically, we have this small town. There's a community that attends this church, and they really like the pastor. The pastor is great, and it's a very welcoming community and a welcoming church kind of thing, especially with different people from different various places of life. Like, they're very accepting people with drug problems, alcohol problems, very accepting to the LGBTQ community, trans community, gay community, all of that. Basically, this church is not... there's no judgment when it comes to the pastor at this church. Now, the pastor gets replaced by this very strict and very by-the-book priest. This new minister comes in, and he basically pushes everybody away with his very strong opinions kind of thing. And when everybody basically leaves the church and doesn't want anything to do with it anymore, he conjures this evil nun to basically take wrath on all the evil people that are in this community, and this evil nun basically murders everybody in horrendous ways, and causes havoc, essentially. Great premise, and even with a low budget, you can do something with that. Like I said, the biggest problem that this film has is there is no good acting in it, and I'm not pinpointing anybody. There's just all across the board. I don't think anybody in this film is a professional actor or actress, and it shows. Like, it's very laughable, and I don't say that to be mean. It is what it is. the idea of the film is definitely a lot stronger than the execution of the film. Other than the practical effects, like I said, there's certain scenes in it. There is one trans character that is having not doubts but fears about the transition, and then at one point in the movie, the evil nun basically turns this person into a whole like freak looking deformity kind of person from head to toe, and then their mother comes up and is like, "Oh my god, I can't stand you. You're a freak. You're sick. You're," kind of thing, which is like a representation of the whole insecurity and the whole doubts that people have during transition kind of thing. Not that I can even begin to understand it, but that's my interpretation and my guess from what they were trying to represent with that. There's a lot of scenes where a lot of things are floating around the room, and there's a lot of scenes like that. And it doesn't look good at all, but I recently just reviewed Poltergeist, and Poltergeist has lots of scenes where the same thing happens. There's shit flying around the room, and none of it looks real, and it all looks kind of cheesy. The only thing is, Poltergeist was 1982, and this is a 2020 film. Again, I understand budget restraints, but there's things you can do with your budget, and I think this film just really needed to be shortened, and maybe just given a little bit more time to have more takes, maybe. I really don't want to pick on, like, especially the actors and the actresses, because I mean, I'm sure everybody's given it their all, but damn, like, it's rough for most of it. And that's the thing with Wild Eye. Like, Wild Eye picks up pretty much anything, and I don't think they have much of a filter when it comes to movies, because I've seen worse than this from Wild Eye, way worse than this. And of course, I've seen better than this from Wild Eye as well. But it's not unwatchable, which is good. And the thing is, as I'm watching this film, I'm trying to tolerate it, and I'm trying to get through it, because you know a film's low budget never holds me back from enjoying some things about it. And as I watched the film, I started to watch it more of a comedic kind of thing, and stopped taking it seriously and completely turned my brain off and just watched it as a enjoyable piece of like satirical comedy kind of thing. And by doing so, I enjoyed it much better and much more. And I think if you watch this film like you're watching a Birdemic or something like that, if you watch it in that lens, it's actually really enjoyable, and it's actually really funny a lot of the times. And I think that's probably what the director was going for, with the satirical sense, because this film does deal with sun politics here and there. And the priest, I mean the strict priest, oh my gosh, there's scenes with him that are just absolutely ridiculous, and accidental or not, I have no idea, but good god, there's scenes where he's whipping himself, and he's whipping himself so lightly, but like you'll see his back and it's like completely shattered and whipped to shit. And the things he says, he's like, oh, because he's watching these two women. The lead character in this film is named Kate, and she is a lesbian and has a girlfriend named Tara. And her and Tara are having this sex scene while the priest is watching and whipping himself, and you're just like, come on, bro, this is so ridiculous. There's one scene too where the church going people are picketing the church, and I mean, they're saying like God is love, God is love, but they're saying it so quietly. Like usually pickets are like, God is love, God. They're like, God is love, God is love, God is love, God is love. It's like, you think you can raise your voice a little bit? Like you're like the tamest protesters I've ever seen. But like I said, through the lens of a comedy more so, or a satirical kind of not take this movie seriously kind of lens, I had a better time with it than taking this movie seriously, because it's not the best, and it has nothing to do with its budget. And again, this is not a channel where I pick on films at all, because I'm sure the director put his heart and soul into this thing. And I always try to find what I enjoy in the film, and I mentioned everything that I enjoyed in the film, but I can't sit here and not say what I didn't enjoy about the film. Do I recommend it? Like I said, if you watch it, if you go into it knowing what it is and knowing what to expect, you might have a good time with it. I just wish that damn intro was cut completely out, as well as some of the rest of the film. But that intro is just, I didn't get it, and I don't know why it's there. It serves no purpose whatsoever. But I don't know. It's streaming on Tubi, so there's bigger wastes of time. I sat through the whole 2 hours, and it was fine. It was fine. Um, the nun looks pretty cool when she shows up on screen. She looks pretty evil nun-ish, so they did a good job on her. And the practical effects were fun. I liked them too. And the characters were interesting, even though I can't say there's a good actor or actress in this film at all. And I couldn't stand the ADR. The dubbing and the ADR and the dialogue was just so off from everybody, and it's just cheap feeling, and I couldn't. I had a hard time getting past that. But like I said, if you watch this film like a birdemic, it's enjoyable. It's fun, at least, kind of thing. So that's really all I got. That's Conjuring the. Wow, I blanked on the title. Conjuring the Devil. Conjuring the Devil, also known as Demon Nun, from 2020. It's on Tubi, so if you want to check it out, give it a shot. If you don't like it, it's not your thing, shut it off. But hey, there's worse things you can watch, and it's free. So there you go. Subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like to listen to my voice or if you like my film reviews. I'll be back with more soon, so stay tuned for those. Check out what's on the channel already. Stay tuned for what's coming. Until next review, have a good one. Take care and cheers.